now available in paperback and e-readers. Spellbound, a darker shade of black. Get your copy today at your favorite online bookseller. These days, we often hear a lot of women throwing around the word misogyny and calling a man a misogynist. However, I don't think a lot of women out here understand what the word misogyny means or who a misogynist is. Now, the definition of the word misogyny means that this is a man who hates women and that he expresses his hatred of women through his words and his actions. And a man who is critical of women and critical of women's behavior is not a misogynist. Now, a man making a statement trying to tell women that their behavior is out of line, that's not a misogynist. A man offering constructive criticism to a woman is not a misogynist. A man making a statement about irresponsible, reckless, and egregious behaviors that women participate in, that is not a misogynist. And these days, because a lot of feminists and a lot of other females who engage in irresponsible, reckless, and egregious behavior want to get away with participating in their irresponsible, reckless, and egregious behaviors, what they do is they participate in shaming language. And when they participate in their shaming language, what they do is they use the word misogynist to try to shut down any sort of constructive criticism or commentary made about the irresponsible, reckless, and egregious behaviors that females participate in. And in many cases, because they use that word and misuse that word, many men shut down. And whenever that woman throws that word out, she also knows that what will happen is a lot of these male enablers are going to come out, because these male enablers believe that if this woman feels threatened, they're going to go out here and try to protect her from anyone who is critical of her or is making efforts to hold her accountable for participating in these irresponsible, reckless, immoral, and egregious behaviors. Now, these guys really, they want to establish a covert contract with these females, whereas what they will do is they are going to let her get away with her bad behaviors and make excuses for her bad behaviors so that they can later on participate in their own irresponsible, reckless, and egregious behaviors. Now, if you look at the picture of what people call misogyny, it's not really misogyny. What it is that many of these females just don't want to be held accountable for many of the irresponsible, reckless, and egregious behaviors that they participate in, and many of the immoral and egregious behaviors that they participate in. And again, they use the word misogynist and misuse that term so that they can pretty much silence any sort of person who disagrees with them or criticizes them. And then they use that, again, as a call to these white knights, these manginas, and these simps, so that they will come out and defend this woman, upholding her in all of her irresponsibility, recklessness, and egregiousness, and her immoral and irresponsible behavior, not holding her accountable and holding her to the same standard that the man would be held to in society. And when you have an unbalanced picture like this, with this whole misogyny argument, it leads to things being dysfunctional, because when you don't hold your females accountable for their bad behavior, they continue to participate in bad behavior. And when it comes down to your misogynist, he's the one who really hates women, because as I see it, the person who truly hates the woman is the man who enables her to get away with her irresponsible, reckless, immoral, and egregious behavior, and gives her a pass for her irresponsible, reckless, and immoral and egregious behavior, and it makes excuses for it instead of holding her to that same standard that everyone else in society would be held to. So this person hates women because what they're doing is allowing them to get away with stuff so that they can get away with stuff. And again, that's a person who hates women, because men who truly care about women are going to criticize women. Men who care about women are going to pull women to the side and let them know that they're doing something wrong. Men who love women are going to check women. A man who doesn't love a woman is going to let her behavior go unchecked and not hold her to the same standard he would hold himself to the same standard, because any man, according to the Christian standard that many Americans participate in, is going to do unto others as they would want done unto them. And he's going to hold that woman to that same standard because he wants to be held to that same standard regarding his own behavior. And any guy who doesn't do that, who gives this woman a pass, is pretty much, he doesn't love that woman. He doesn't care about her enough to, again, pull her to the side and tell her that her behavior is out of line, that the way she is acting is reckless, the way she is acting is irresponsible, the things she is doing is egregious, and the way she is presenting herself, does not reflect well on him. Because when a man really cares about a woman and is involved with a woman in a relationship, her behavior reflects on him. And when she's acting out of pocket, it makes it look like he can't have any control over himself. The way she carries herself reflects directly on him. So that man loves that woman to do what is right for her, because he's doing also what is right for the relationship and right for, himself. But according to many women, any sort of criticism means that this guy hates women. Now, again, your enablers really hate women because, again, they want to get that pass for their own reckless and irresponsible behavior. And moreover, they want to create a covert contract with women to do that. And once they let them get away with their stuff, what they do is they go in under the table trying to make deals, and that's when many females find out who the true misogynist truly is, which is many of these simps, many of these white knights, and many of these manginas. Because many of these simps, white knights, and manginas, what they want to do is be able to try to get away with stuff. So with these same females, they give a pass to, and the women don't find out until it's too late that this guy is up to something. And then when these guys try to make their advances, that's when these females find out horrifically that this guy is the one who truly hates women. Because once they reject the simp or the white knight or the mangina, that's when he starts launching into the tirades, calling women B words, calling women H words, calling women the C word, and then going out and participating in violent acts against women, such as stalking and harassment and assaults. Because he does that because, again, this woman is not a person to him. This is an object to him, a fantasy object to him, and it's somebody he's putting on a pedestal. And when this person shows them their true feelings and their humanity, that's when this guy pretty much loses it, because the object of his affection then turns into the item of his contempt, and that's when he starts expressing his rage. And this is what many people would call the mangina rage or the mangina meltdown that many of these guys participate in, or when the white knight turns black. But you can clearly see their behaviors, if you're smart, from minute one when it comes down to their behaviors. Because your white knight, this is the guy who's so dishonest that he's pursuing women who are already in relationships. And many of these other guys, they try to do things covertly instead of expressing their feelings up front. They're going to try to be this woman's friend. But to these women, this guy's letting me get away with stuff, so they're thinking he's not a misogynist. But in actuality, he's the real misogynist. And I saw, lots of examples of this in film and in real life. Now, in film, I saw, a textbook case of it in a 1952 film called The Sniper. Now, the film The Sniper was about this guy who wanted to have relationships with women, but he didn't know how to do it. And because he had mental health problems, what he would do is he would, put women on pedestals, fantasize about them, and then when the relationship didn't go the way he wanted, he'd go out and get a rifle and go out and kill women. Now, another film I saw this was the film 10 to Midnight with Charles Bronson, which also showed a guy who was rebuffed by women and then went out on a killing spree. Now that movie was a little schlocky in its way, but it was really making a statement again about your misogynist. And in real life, I saw, another case of misogyny with the man Elliot Rodger. Now your Elliot Rodger, again, he fantasized about women, he put women on pedestals, and when he could not achieve his fantasy, what he did was he went out again on a murderous rampage. And in music, you look at groups like your Two Live Crews and your NWAs. Yes, these guys participated in expressions of misogyny, expressing clear hatred of females. Unfortunately, many females go would flock to these guys' bands and their music videos because they wanted to be in the music video. They wanted to be with the entertainers, but these entertainers again expressing contempt for the female, and the female again these days misuses the word misogynist, and thinks that using this shaming tactic is going to silence men. But what she's doing is she's pushing away the men who truly care about her. And because she goes out of her way to push away men who care about her, what happens to her is she winds up becoming a victim of the true misogynist, because the men who truly hate women are the men who go out of their way to give a woman a pass for her irresponsible, reckless, egregious, and immoral behaviors without holding her accountable and holding her to the same standard he would hold himself to. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.